Team GG. Let's get this best of 3 underway.
And we're live for our second series of the day where we have Notorious Triads taking on Team GG. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have an Ozo on the map here. This is going to be a lovely matchup.
I think you're pretty excited about that, and I really like Weapon Power Ozo in the current meta. I usually play him top lane, but I can see how he will be effective in the jungle as well, depending on which of those two is technically going to the jungle between the Glaive and the Ozo. I don't think it really matters. He's really strong, he's got plenty of sustain, he's very hard to take down in teamfights if you don't have something like a Poison Shiv, which means that we're either going to see a Spellfire on Celeste, first item I think, or Vox might be forced into an awkward build path. So I love this pickup. The only issue I have is that this is a very mid-game orientated composition. If this gets towards the late game, super favoring Notorious Triad.
Pinch me, man. I never thought I would hear the day when such words would come out of your mouth, but we'll see how it's going to play out. Obviously, I think it's a wrong pick, but it's going to have to get in there. It's going to have to do work. Definitely can be blown up. You leave yourself vulnerable with this sort of play style. As far as these teams, though, early on here, pretty standard rotations around the map. We're going to be fairly even after the first jungle and 2 waves that come down the lanes.
The one thing about Weapon Power Ozo as well is that he's very difficult to actually kill because he just gets so much healing off his 3-ring circus with that Serpent's Mask, because obviously it has Weapon Power scaling now. So he's just like a monster when it comes to in these full-on team fights where he's 3-ring circus everybody.
Yeah. Because
he's landing basic attacks on everybody. He's building ridiculous breaking point stacks in team fight situations. That is what makes him so strong. And again, you do need to have specific ways to shut him down. Spellfire is obviously one of them, but if you're Celeste and you've got this Ozo who's literally one of the most mobile heroes in the game, flopping all over a team fight, I mean, you've got to make sure you're pinpoint accurate with those Heliogenesis.
But it's like even the Mortal Wounds all just pretty much puts him back to like even footing with how like typical heroes are life stealing.
Yeah, I guess so to a degree. That's very, very true. It's a shame to see CP Ozo not in the meta in 5v5. It's just the burst damage just is okay, like after Aftershock, but it's so much protection and there's so many different defensive utilities. He just isn't quite got the damage output to get over the line.
I actually think it feels really weird to play Ozo on 5v5 versus 3v3 because of how the map is zoomed out and the angle you have. It like when you bring up the acrobounce circle, it feels so much smaller on the 5v5 map.
Yeah, I think it's obviously because of the zoom potential. You could see, oh, they're going in on the top lane here.
They're in, but Spicy Fries with the healing flask, and he's gonna go ahead and get back. That'll be the boots on cooldown though. That's a big deal. Honestly, Reza potentially gonna drop. Oh, right at the last minute, healing flask. I think it's something that people don't talk about enough. Like forcing someone's boots onto cooldown literally is just a win in so many of these instances because that cooldown is so long, and you just know that now you can play around with them, and they can't put themselves in that vulnerable position again.
Yeah, no, it's what is it, 2 minutes 20 seconds, something like that. It's 2.5 minutes. It's pretty ridiculous early game cooldown. A lot of people, I make the comparison between it and a flash in League of Legends. If you burn early game boots, like that is such a good reason to go get aggressive again and try and find another engage, because they have nothing left in the tank to escape with once those boots have been shut down. It's actually why I like to invest in tier 2 boots really early in the 5v5 map, because you have a lower cooldown on them, you can get across the map, which is much bigger a lot more quickly, and you have that get out of jail free card that's up every minute instead of every 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and then like also even when you're looking at like a hero like you see, okay, he's got his 2 item, he's finished his breaking point, and then if like boots are on cooldown, I'm like, oh well, he would be online, but the boots aren't on cooldown. Like having those boots on cooldown means you can actually go and be crazy, get kills.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Ryan on this anchor jungle again. It's something that is seemingly very popular in these competitive matches, yet I just don't see much of it in solo queue. I suppose anchor gets banned quite a lot, and again, it only really, for me, it feels like it's a pick that you need to do a lot of roaming with to try and get that lead in the early game. I don't know if I like it just sat in the spot lane versus a tanky target, because you're not going to get that ability to snowball. It's why I like Anchor in the mid lane more than I like Anchor anywhere else on the map, because you can rotate between the bot and the top lane really easily with the buff that you get from the river, and that allows you to get onto squishier targets as well. The problem with her in the jungle is you're going up against someone who's literally building to not die, and she needs people to die. That's kind of what Anchor's thing is. Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I mean, your point makes sense to me, but it feels like you just got to be a little bit smart about where you're going. And I like that she's in the mid with trying to go on Samuel right now, and jumps in, has the blades come out, but it's not enough damage right now. As you said, just doesn't have item progression at this point. I mean, item progression is actually fairly decent for this point in the game. It's not like she's shut down.
No, she's actually got her Shatterglass on fairly early. I think she's been getting a good chunk of CS with this Vox, and actually this is really good because I think he's been gifting over her all the CS in the jungle, which is going to allow her to scale up pretty nicely. Once they pick up this Big Bear or Little Bear, they should be able to get the Shatterglass online, which is her big first item spike.
Oh, I thought
she could have done.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. We're gonna be okay. They'll probably draw back and purchase that now. Maybe she just kind of like mistapped and didn't realize there's.
Yeah. I mean, the shop's open. She can convert. It's like her first big item spike. Now, I would love. Yeah, there we go. I would love to see her be more aggressive on the map now. I think that Grace is an okay target for you. And actually, this is the prime opportunity. If Vox pushes this in, Grace has only got a Stormguard banner. Grace is yet to back or shop, which is big for her because that'll make her a very prime target to get blown up by the anchor. Although, with the timing of the weapon power jungle here, Grace might get a little bit of respite and might be able to shop, which will be able to give her some survivability in this lane.
Yeah, she needs to shop like right now. This is exactly the window you're on it. She'll get over right now. They'll know that she was able to get over there and shop. The jungle cleared out, and once again, nice efficiency between Ryan VG and VJ0, the Vox and Anka respectively, doing a good job to get both farm on both heroes here. So I like this.
Yeah, and I like the triple threat composition that they brought to the table. You've got someone that dives, and you've got two backline carries with the Vox and the Celeste. Going to put pressure onto Eenthiel here, but he does have to boot away, and he has that flask there. Just going to heal himself up for the moment, but really not that much healing at this stage in the game.
I mean, before he bought those items, he would have died for sure. So
yeah,
he stays alive because he was able to hit the shop. And now this is going to be kind of a tough job with that ultimate on cooldown sitting on low health. He either makes the call to get some help down there, that turret's probably going to fall. Ozo, he's into mid, bouncing around. They're going to knock Celeste back, and Lissandro is dead. A nice rotation from top lane down into the mid, and going to be able to get a kill. Down in bottom, looks like Ryan actually jumps on in there to find that kill. We knew that the Grace was low, couldn't defend the turret, but she loses her life as well as the turret.
She made a benediction to try and clear the wave with her Storm Crown, and unfortunately was punished for it. Wait a second, here we go.
Afterburn in. It looks like Ali Poker has found the Arden. Arden pops the fountain out, and the Verse is going to find a couple stun, meaning Spicy Fries can get out there, but Arden going down, that's pretty rough.
No, absolutely. This is going to allow this Weapon Power Ozo to continue pushing into this jungle. It really feels like it's going to be a Vox versus Weapon Power Ozo game at this stage right now, because they are both at similar gold values. CS is pretty even between the two of them, and Ozo has got that kill to back him up as well. So this feels like it's going to be boiling down to which of the Weapon Power carries is going to carry the hardest.
I feel like I actually personally like getting a Shiver Steel as like third item on the weapon Ozo, because like if you're sticking to a target, you're life stealing. If you're life stealing, you're living. You just gotta stay on them. And it's actually like with the Vox, depending how you play it, like if you jump the Vox by surprise, you're probably gonna have enough cooldowns to stay on him without that. If he sees you coming at all with Sonic Zoom and just naturally kiting, he'll always get away from you.
Yeah, I actually don't mind, because Ozo really only needs 2 items to work. He only needs the Serpent's Mask and the Breaking Point. That is some damage coming out from Ryan, though. I'm loving this roaming across the map to try and get him online.
And that's the pullback. Arden, he'll drop the elbow here. Gauntlet catches the stun, but nothing follows there. Finn even just walking in to show he can't be bang-rang in, but blocked off. Lissandra able to get back. Little acro bounce. Ozo's in too deep, but it looks like Ali Poker may be in danger now. He'll take the Arden. He gets back. Solar Storm's on the mark, and it's going to tick him down. No, he's got a healing flask. He will be okay. He'll go ahead and back out of there. Nice trade back and forth.
Oh, that's Samuel getting the Celeste very low here. In comes VJ0, though. That is some damage right now, and it's going to force them back. That was potentially a really good push by Liner there from GG in the middle, but the Vox rotation just in time to be able to force him back off the mark, and that'll give Celeste time to back and make her way back to that mid lane. And right now, unfortunately for Ozo, Notorious squad definitely look like they have the map pressure. They have got a small gold disadvantage, but it feels like most of these fights, it's either Samuel putting them on their back, and if Samuel is in an awkward position, then that is where the problems are going to come for GG.
I mean, also, it's just like, don't tank the turret when there are multiple heroes there. That was very bold. They should have known there was a block on Celeste. So if you're gonna bangering your, like that's what happens. But no problem right here. Now the pull back. Celeste just hammered down Ali Poker. He'll find the afterburn, but knocks him a little further away. Ali Poker committing as Mason moves in. A little bit of miscommunication there. VJ0 has showed up into the mid lane. Let's check his items. He's got Serpent's Mask plus the breaking point. Boots on cooldown though. This Vox is not ready to go.
No, he booted in to try and get to that fight. He also accidentally tapped his flask, which is a really big deal because if this fight breaks out and he doesn't have his flask, that could be huge.
Mastery stunned up, a silence to follow. Vox gets taken down. Grace gets that one. This fight's traded 1-for-1. Now Ali Poker, he's low, but the divine intervention means he can jump in. Nice call from his ally to put him in there. Acro bounce, Ozo's into position. Let's go! Ozo! Mystery is down. That's double cure coming through. Spicy Fries will get out of that one. And it looks like Team GG are going to show a little bit of mercy here.
Hey, Mesam on this Ozo. He's hit that mid-game spike, the 2 items that you need to make Ozo work, and the combo between him and Grace is heavily having an impact here. Something that we didn't talk about as well is the Grace ultimate. Really good if targeted on someone that Anchor dives in on, because you might just reduce the damage enough to prevent Anchor getting a reset. And once Anchor jumps in and doesn't get a reset, that makes her such a vulnerable target, even after her ultimate, if you can chase her down. And Ozo went to town right there. Unfortunately, a lot of fights are being taken for the Notorious Triad when they don't have their Vox anywhere near them. Vox accidentally burnt his flask and used his boots to get to that fight. When the fight broke out in the mid lane, 4 versus 5, he didn't have anything to help him kite away. Ozo took advantage of that and actually went to town.
Dude, Ozo will take everything away from you if he's allowed to. Ozo.
Look at that healing!
Yeah, it's massive. This is nice, but you got to be careful to get in this. He's pretty low here. Now they're going to go ahead and jump around. VJ0 as well. And VG incredibly Spicy Fries winds up for the burst. He'll find the stun onto the Ozo, holding him down through the fight. Now Glaive has fallen, but Ozo's in. He's got Ryan VG looking for some more 3-ring circus, and get yourself some healing. Almost taking Mastari down. Oh, the Malice is there, but the verdict is he'll be able to walk away. VJ0, he's trying to get something done, but nothing really to be had at this point. Anil just jumps in there with the Atlas Pauldron and says, Vox, you shall not pass.
Yeah, Vox is unfortunately just about 10 seconds too late to all of these fights. Really good engages coming out from GG in the mid lane, while Vox is constantly trying to farm that bot lane. If he was there, these might be a bit more even, but as it stands, you just can't kite backwards against an Ozo when you've only got one threat that you care about, really, which is the Celeste. Anchor trying to dive in. Ozo says, wait a second, I get all of my HP back in about 2 seconds because I'm weapon power Ozo. And now he's got the Slumbering Husk as well. I mean, that's going to make him even harder to take out in these fights, Humanist.
You know, the thing is, like, Anka would have been fine if, like, +1 had followed her, but when you're isolated in that 1v1, suddenly goes, wait a second, I'm just going to hit you, but breaking point's going to stack up, so that's going to be fine. The thing is, though, like, a few of these different fights is, I like Mesam's positioning because he's fighting around cooldowns, even though he still is a weapon Ozo, as far as like actually chasing. So his allies are between him and his opponents. He just bounces on his ally into the opponents, and he's done this multiple times. So he's able to get on them from deep range, like almost bangerang range. Now he's flanking around the bottom. They have a pull as well. Yeah, they should be finding at least 1 kill. We'll start with the bounce. VJ0's the target. Breaking point starting to stack up for the Ozo. Bangerang knocks the Vox back. There's your Slumbering Husk triggered off. The pull was used through this fight, but everybody stays alive here, and that's 5 committed from Team GG down into bottom. They don't find anything because they just don't collapse down and focus someone down. But in the meantime, Lissandra was able to take down the turret because she had stayed in mid here. Lissandra moves down through the jungle, a scary position to be in. Lissandra stays alive. Thank you, my goodness, for the gauntlet right there. It looks like Team GG lose 2 heroes. Is a bit of miscommunication. They're not fighting with their full power at this point. Grace jumps back in. They maybe actually turn this one around. The Quibble from Reza VG able to find the kill there. But VJ0, he's got breaking point stacks. He's looking for some. He's got the double kill. Can you dance? You got a Sonic Zoom. Get in there. We'll go ahead and get that Vanguard. He's going to chase him down. And Finn, you're just a stat for my VG Pro. That's going to be the ace. And hello, Notorious Triad. They're back in this one.
Hey, look what you get when you have a Vox that's there at the start of the fight, when he's able to build breaking point stacks when they're trying to chase down a Celeste. That is a big difference. Although, let's be fair, Ali kind of isolated himself, and then Ozo jumped over the wall. They had separated from the rest of their team. The Grace, the Finn, and the Samuel were over on the ghosting side of the pit, and the highly mobile Ozo and Glaive had committed over the wall.
Yeah.
So they did separate out their team fight, which did make it a lot harder for them to achieve their goals. However, VJ Zero, giving credit where credit is due, he stacked up really nicely. He obviously knew exactly what he was doing when trying to contest or chase down the Ozo into the Samuel right there. He had so many breaking point stacks. That's what you want to achieve in these fights. You need to make GG Squad think about their decision making in team fights. They need to say, do we kill Vox or do we kill Celeste? Or do we focus the anchor that's just jumping on our front line and just throwing all these knives out? That's the decision that you need to force them to make. Ozo can only focus one of these targets.
Yeah.
Split up and make him focus one.
I don't feel like it should ever be like a black and white call like that. I feel like the call should be for Team GG, whoever leaves themselves most vulnerable. Like it almost doesn't matter. Besides the Arden, whoever's forward, you take them.
I think you adapt it based on how the team fight's going, but they need to commit to a target, right? They can't randomly split it up. They can't randomly split it up in the middle because that just gives Dragon's Eye stacks, which
I could be wrong, but like half of that last fight, like they caught Lissandro in the jungle and then just kind of were like, oh my goodness, like I'm a puppy with a tennis ball here. Samuel immediately burst down. A nice gauntlet from Arden. Let's see, the stun comes out, holding them in place with that quibble. Finn now able to stun folks. Ozo, he's doing his best, but silenced up, and he's taken down. Ali has the damage, but has to afterburn out of there. Res VG left for dead. There's no way that Finn gets out, and suddenly Notorious Triad take 3 once again here, winning back-to-back fights. They lose nobody. They can take Black Claw, they can push, and they're in a great position. They even got Ali. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know. They literally picked him up with the Spellfire from Ryan right at the end there. That was pretty insane. And you can see what a difference it makes. Samuel put himself well out of position. He did not respect the Vox's damage output at this point in the game. And unfortunately for them, they then couldn't decide who to focus on. Do we focus on the Vox, or do we try and use this opportunity to get onto the Celeste? And it's exactly what we were talking about, Humanist. You need to commit. When you've got an Ozo and a Glaive, your damage is going to drop off after the late game, after the mid game that comes through. So you need to say to yourself, okay, if Samuel wants to kite backwards, fair enough. But we as a unit need to focus on one of these targets and kill them, because we combined can kill them. If we separate, we can't. And that is the problem that you're seeing with this composition from GG Squad right now. Also,
sometimes why I actually don't even like the point builds on both the Glaive or the Ozo, because it just forces a certain kind of play style instead of first committal. Anyway, they're taking a huge chunk of AoE. Boss still alive. There's the pull onto 3, but nothing to follow. They're gonna lose Reza. No, Reza able to stay alive. That is one tanky Finn right there. Ozo's in. He wants the Vox. He's getting good damage down, but he will pay for his mistakes there. Mason down for 30 seconds. Notorious Triad will take down the first base turret here in mid. Blacklaw should fall rather shortly, and with that, they will go ahead and back up once again, not losing anybody. 15 to 12, 18 minutes in. These guys are almost dead even in net worth.
You're seeing the pain in these team fights, though, when you have to commit to a squishier target, or even like a non-squishy target like Vox, now that he's got the Slumbering Husk. And he's got the Slumbering Husk, he's got the Vanguard, he's got the Adagio heal, and he can slow you down and jump away with his Sonic Zoom. That's a feels bad, man, if you're an Ozo or Glaive, because you, at this point in the game, like you said, they've committed to elongated fight builds. They have lost their burst. This was kind of bursty in the mid game. We're past the mid game now. We're entering towards the later stages of the game. We don't burst with these builds anymore, and that's a problem going up against this amount of continuous protection.
Yeah, like you essentially have this build as the Vox, but the Vox is going to do what you're trying to do better than you every time. Once again, that is unless you get you have the element of surprise, which at this point they're just moving out on the map trying to clear some vision. This is not really a luxury that they will have through any of these fights unless something really miraculous goes their way. Maybe a great pull from SVG. Also, it feels like Team GG need to just fully commit to a fight. They're playing like they go in, they take damage, then they try to run away. You're gonna lose that fight every time. I feel like jump in, commit to the fight, smoke someone, and try to sustain through it. You've got a Finn, you've got the Ozo with the lifesteal, you've got a Grace. Get her done.
The problem is that all of their composition sucks at kiting, apart from Samuel. What does your Ozo and your Glaive do if you're trying to kite? Okay,
Reza's caught. Now fight. You're gonna lose. You're about to lose this fight. There's nothing you can do this one, right? Okay, the war treads in here. Looks like Notorious Triads are going to go ahead and close this one out. The Slumbering Husk procced off. Ozo's onto the Vox on the back side of this. He's stunned. He's down. This should be the end of the game here for Team GG. They'll do their best to try and fight this one out. Reza stays alive. Yeah, I don't know. 5 seconds in the front of that one. He will go down. Anil squirts out of that one, stays alive, has a Sealing Flask. Notorious Triad, are they going to play this safe? Or are they going to look to close this one out? They move in. They'll focus fire down the Grace. Wow, actually, a lot of damage comes out there. They could lose. No, Vanguard on a Spicy Fries, plus the double kill coming through from the Celeste means this will indeed be GG here in game one. Notorious Triad really turning things up as soon as we hit that mid-game power spikes coming out of them. And, I don't know, Team GG falling a little bit flat.
Yeah, and you saw the problem. It was perfectly identified in that last fight. Ozo was by himself on the box, trying to kill him. Blade was kiting backwards. Exactly as you said, Humans. This composition cannot kite backwards versus a composition that is just far better at it than you. You need to full-on commit and use the Samuel as an artillery cannon.